Ladies and gentlemen, Cinema Buckets, welcome back to another episode. Today I have a special guest, the guys that breathe, love, Goosebumps. We have the Goosebumps crew right here with Sean and Hayden. How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Not bad. Nice. Oh, well, thank you guys for coming on, man. If you guys haven't seen any of their the channel, it's amazing. They cover um every single episode. Anything that's related to Goosebumps, they pretty much covered it. How'd you guys kind of start? Like who started it? How did that all just come about, man?
So it's really only down to Bjorn and myself from the OG crew from episode one.
Okay.
We started with six, and originally I thought it was just actually going to be Bjorn and myself, not realizing until I got on the call that there were like four other guys, and I'm just like, oh crap, I was like, well, who are these people? I'm like, hey, what's up? And there's like some 13-year-old kid here or 10-year-old, whatever he was at the time. I was like, I feel really awkward in a chat with a child I've never met before, which makes me feel like on Catch a Predator or something. It was really weird.
As long as
Um,
as long as Hanson doesn't show up at your kitchen with like a paper, like you're good, bro.
yeah,
No.
yeah, no, no. So we kind of continued, and then after about, I don't know, I think our second or third episode, it was we got Tim Jacobus on, and it kind of sparked the idea, what if we tried to reach out because no one's ever done it to other people from the Goosebumps franchise, the '90s show, books, whatever. Um, and we just started reaching out and getting replies, and next thing you know, we just kept going and kept going.
Nice.
Eventually, it came down to just three of us: Isaiah, myself, and Bjorn. Isaiah obviously decided to part ways. He wanted to focus on his career
Mhm.
and not go to the next venture of what we're trying to do, because we all talked about trying to move this into more of like a business side of it, to do more of what we did at Curse City Con last year, which was being guests, but bringing guests with us.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we did a live podcast there. We, hosted the panel for Stein, Jacobus, Craig White, Jack Lenz, and all that, and it turned out to be phenomenal. So, we picked up and we just actually got our company name recently for that division, Scarelastic Entertainment,
Nice.
registered thing.
Congratulations,
So
man. That's a big step.
yeah,
It's crazy to think, right? Like how like something like this, right? Like that you could build something out of just doing videos on things you love. Like you said, like your thing was like, man, you got to the con, like wow, you're not only getting to the con, but you're hosting the con, right? Like you're a part of the con, and it's something it's special, man. Because like I said earlier, I have a NFL podcast, and I got to go to the international game. Like they paid me to go to London. They flew me out to London just so I can cover the team and stuff and do content for that. And that's like I'm just like thinking about like I'm here in like the Tower of London, and I'm like this is all free because I decided, people actually listen to the shit that I have to say sometimes. Like it's crazy. Like just
right.
to think about it like that, and that's awesome for you guys, and congratulations on that. That's a big stepping stone, man, to get to that level and do what you love still, and not only do it with passion, but there is obviously the business side, but not let that business side kind of taint what you build earlier before that.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of the
Mm,
the thing we're trying to strive for. And when we before Isaiah left, even Isaiah was doing a lot of our editing,
mm.
that he wanted to take on, and he wanted to take on the host duties. So funny enough, I mean, we didn't reach out to anybody trying to get another person on board with us to do editing or anything, but Hayden reached out to us actually, and actually another guy did too. I
Okay.
don't know if Hayden ever knew that, but
I
there was
did
actually a
not.
competing person with you.
He
Uh,
didn't know, man.
well, we didn't expect to get two people trying to, reach out and say, "Hey, I will, I want to do the editing and stuff and social media for your podcast and everything. Is that okay?" And I was like, "Well, I was like, we can't take somebody who's going to have less quality or dedication that Isaiah is already putting into, because then it brings down quality, it brings down viewership and everything else. We got to keep that level or go above it,
Yeah.
preferably go above it, which Hayden has done in spades. So between the two, there was no contest to me, even though one was actually a friend of Isaiah's.
Hmm.
But and that's why I try to make it out to him. I was like, look, man, I was like, I know he's your friend. I was like, but what Hayden presented compared to what he presented, it's a night and day difference, brother. I was
Yeah.
like, I mean, skill level is totally different. I was like, there's no way. And Hayden's been a great fit. And when Isaiah decided to leave, Bjorn and I, thought about just keeping it just us two, but we kind of like the dynamic of three of us talking about
Hmm.
it and hanging out and talking. And Hayden has actually been on a couple times prior to that.
Okay.
So we asked him to hop in. Now we've had, funny enough, quite a few people actually asked to be on it or part of it. And,
Hmm.
we just we can't do that just
Hmm.
for obvious reasons. Which we feel bad about because we're not celebrities, we're not, whatever, but it's like, it's impossible to do that.
Yeah, well, that and it shows a kind of true testament to you and your work that, obviously something's going right, right? That people want to join and still be part of that. And I think everyone loves the idea of a podcast, but I guess they don't realize the work that goes in it. Yeah, it's not the simple just, hey, I press record and just talk here for a couple minutes and then just do a video like that. There's so much to it. As like just not the business side, but like, like showing your face, the content, the constant content. Because I say it to people at work because people are like, how do you have time? I'm like, well, you know what? To be honest with you, like I put more time in my podcast than I do at work. Like I'm barely
Hmm.
like I work, but like I work 10 times harder doing the podcast than I do like actual
Yeah.
work. Like it's crazy.
Hmm.
It's just the time, the time. I have two kids. It's a little bit harder now, family wise. So like that's where you know obstacles come into place.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, for us, it's crazy because again, you're dealing not with one time zone, not two time zones, but three.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because Hayden's on Central, I'm on Eastern, and Bjorn's all the way in Australia. So that's a whole nother time completely. Like he's in another day. And then not to mention if we have a guest and where they live and what their schedule is.
Yep.
Yep.
So
That's another thing.
hard enough when we don't have a guest, but when we have a guest, it makes it a little more difficult. We have to plan out months and months and months in advance, usually, just to make sure that this day and time will work. And even then, sometimes we got to reschedule
Hmm.
and push it back, or sometimes it doesn't happen at all.
So,
Thankfully, most of them have been able to happen
mhm.
because I think without some of these guests coming back in the spotlight for Goosebumps, Catherine Long, Catherine Short, Amos Crawley, you know, Jack Lenz, Scott Wickware, Craig White. Craig White's never done a convention until he came with us to San Antonio and really had nothing to do with Goosebumps since he left. He hadn't really thought about it too much because nobody really asked about it. But now, he's getting blown up and getting art requests and everything else. So
I
it's
love I love Craig White. What Craig White is, let me tell
Yeah.
you, I had him on, which was really funny, is that I was like, you know what? We were talking and stuff, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm like, how about we do this? I think it'll be kind of fun. I go, how about I'm putting you on the spotlight? I said, 1 minute. You draw something and I draw something. And within that 1 minute, let's see what we come up with. I go, let's try to make it like, Halloween theme. He's like, I don't know. I think obviously he was being just, he's like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm like, come on, let's try it. And I go, I'm gonna time it. So I timed it. And let me tell you, that man, when I pulled, I made a fucking Batman. It was like the worst Batman ever. But I'm like, bro, this is the only thing I could draw. He was laughing. He's like, oh, that's so much better than mine. And I was like, I don't know. And then he pulled this out, and I was like, wait, this damn thing. Look, that's what he pulled that
Oh
out.
wow.
And I was just like, and I was like, damn. I'm like,
1 minute.
yeah,
That's
one
Yeah.
that's
minute.
that's
And
the
that's what he
crazy
pulled
part.
out. And
1 minute.
he goes, oh, yours is so much better. I go, don't get the fuck out of here. Like, stop lying. He started laughing. So he actually he sent me that. He goes, hey, I'll
Yeah.
I'll send it to you. and he's been, I mean, ever since then, like he's been amazing. I'm writing a book, and I told Craig, I'm like, hey man, I would like you to do like my cover. It's a kind of it's like a Halloween, Christmas themed. And he's like, oh, tell me a little bit more about the story, and it's basically it's Santa Claus getting bitten by a werewolf on Christmas Eve and turning into a wolf. So he had it, and I mean, like I said, the cover and everything, like he
Oh
did.
wow.
Yeah, it
Yeah, I
was.
like that.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, so hopefully I told him like hopefully by within a couple months I should have it and publish it and stuff like that. And he was psyched about it, and he was like, man, that's awesome. But that cover, and like I said, I can't hands down to Craig White. I love that guy. That guy's super nice and just so
Yeah,
humble.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how you just
he
like
is.
he pulled that skeleton out of his ass. Like 1 minute, I was just like.
1 minute.
I wish. And then he went on and he did a couple other artwork for me because, like I said, like I'm a Titans fan, so he did like, hold on, let's see if you see that. Yeah, so he did like his, God damn it, this there we go.
Oh,
So
there we go.
it's
Yep.
That's
but he
cool.
did like the
Oh,
original.
that's okay. That's cool.
Yeah, so he did that, and then he was like, and I was like, man. So like I love, like I said, I'm all for him. Like the more stories I write or anything, I said I have like two more books that I'm writing. I'm like, he's like, hey, just let me know. I'm like, sending it right to you, man. So he was really really nice to talk to. Who was your favorite guest that you had on?
Oh
Oh
man.
man. Uh, that's a tough one because honestly, everyone we've had on has been nothing but generous with their time,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
nothing but straight up just the best. Like I don't have anything bad to say about anybody we've ever had on. Um, so I don't have a favorite per se. Bias will tell you, Carly Beth herself, Catherine Long, um, because that was one when we started this whole let's go and see who we can get was
Mhm.
my number one. Like
Hmm.
because she has not done anything in the spotlight for over 20 years at least. Um, so nobody knows what she's doing, where she is, what she looks like for the most part. And so when that happened, and that's still, I think, to this day, our most highly viewed video of over like 20,000 or something, which is good for Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I know it's not millions like, some other crazy content creators get, but man, I didn't care. I could have got 5 views. I
Yep.
got to hang out and talk with Catherine Long, and that was
Right.
like the craziest moment of my life. So,
I would
um,
say like I don't know. Mine
honestly, yeah,
mine I kind of have
probably
bias towards. I think Morgan Taylor was probably mine, and the reason why
it's fun.
is not necessarily because of the podcast, but because me and my wife like formed a pretty good relationship with her
Okay.
after the podcast because she's I'm not going to give out her location of where
Yeah.
she's at, but she lives relatively close to us. So we were able to kind of connect and hang out and do some stuff, and so that to me was just cool to be able to interact with somebody from the Goosebumps franchise. And the interview that we did with her, she actually did the most recent Goosebumps video game. She's the voice actress for the main character in
Okay.
Goosebumps
Cool.
Terran Little Creek. So that one for me is probably if you had to pick a favorite, that one would be
Mhm.
mine. But
Nice, nice. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, it's tough though because we've had so many on, and Tim's our most you know reoccurring guest because like, and I would have never told 10-year-old me, hey, I'm gonna have Tim Jacobus's phone number one day, and we call each
Yeah.
other friends and like can actually talk and stuff. It's absolutely insane.
mhm,
Um, he just did a design for actually our new logo for the podcast itself, and shameless plug, but we do have a Kickstarter for that shirt.
There it is.
And
mhm.
just because I was like, Tim, that's an amazing design. I was like, can we just use it to do shirts or whatever else? And he does donations to his local food bank, and that's what we're gonna do too.
Cool.
So portion of if the shirts make it through the Kickstarter, we'll give to his food bank.
Nice, nice.
So
Tim's another one that it's so funny. I'm like when I talked to him and I had him on, I had him do a Goosebumps cover for me as well. I'm like, hey man, just kind of like I can't get it because there's so much shit in this garage and it's far on the wall. But like It's basically like the horror like Camp Jelly Jam. So it looks like that, but it's just me with a it's a Titans hat and a Titans shirt. And it was funny as hell, and I
Nice.
loved it. I remember I saw him in Oklahoma. The first time I saw and I met him was in Utah. Me and my buddy went, and I didn't know at that time that Tim Jacobus was going to be there. And I was wearing this sweater, and I walked in, and I was like, and I had a little, he had a little booth, and I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, that's Tim Jacobus. Like, who? He's like, who's that? I'm like, that's the original guy who did the artwork. So I walked up to him. He's like, hey man, love your shirt. And he was, like I said, he was super down to earth. And then we got to talking, and I mean, Tim's awesome. Every time. Like, I message him, he always answers and is just really generally a really nice guy. And I'm glad that he still has work and people are asking constantly for his stuff because his stuff is I told him, I go, hey man, like when I was little, like in third grade, second grade, like I barely knew I hated reading, but I would always buy the Goosebumps books because the covers look cool. I'm like, so you did your
Hmm.
job. You hooked my ass. So
Same.
he started laughing. Like, exactly. So
Same.
yeah, man, it was just I remember the Scholastic, like the book fairs where it's just all about Goosebumps, and that's everything we went for. It was Goosebumps, Goosebumps. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was awesome. Do you guys have any favorites like memorabilia that you have? I mean, I'm looking at Sean behind. He has a bunch of shit. Like it's awesome. What you got?
That
What do you got there? What's the?
so that is a one of one print of Tim Jacobus's artwork that he did for Travis Scott, and it's
Oh,
signed.
sweet.
So it's he custom printed that out when we went to San Antonio, and I've got it framed up there. And you can't see it, but like on this side of the wall, there's a
Hmm.
bunch of Travis Scott stuff that I've got, action figures and different stuff like that. But yeah, that's probably my favorite piece that I own. I've got a lot, but that's probably at the top.
What about you, Sean? I mean, you got everything in your
Uh,
back.
well, you know, well, it's tough because I mean, if we just go by pure love of an item, I mean, ooh, um, I don't know, because like it was really it's down to two things. Like, so we met, obviously, like I said, many people over the Goosebumps genre, and one was Matt DeWild, who worked on the first 8 episodes roughly of the Goosebumps show and the '90s show, and they did um, like a post wrap gift for the people, and I have two of them actually back here. Um, Both are actually copies from the original mold
Hmm.
of what they did give to the cast.
Cool.
So the fact that like I have that's pretty awesome, and it Matt signed the bottom of it. So I mean that's awesome. And then before she started doing convention circuits, like my Catherine Long like custom like Universal Horror Monsters image that was made by another fan out there who allowed me to print it so she could sign it. So that probably would be my two favorites, even though I have pieces of the actual haunted mask that got sold at auction for like $30,000
Oh
because it was
wow.
crumbling. But the guy who owned it before it went to auction asked me if he didn't want to just throw them away. So I've got them in that same case back there, just in the little petri dish type thing, just because I was like, I just can't leave them sitting out on the
Yeah,
glass. It'd be
yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So
Very
it's kind of a toss up between those probably, or maybe my first edition or true first print of Welcome to Dead House that's signed by Tim and Stein.
Oh, nice, nice. I have
Yeah,
a couple things signed by Stein, but they weren't first editions. I remember um so he doesn't really so at that time, he barely went to Texas a lot, other than the San Antonio thing. I know that, but this was way before then, and he was doing like a little like Orange County, California, and he was doing just I think a night with Arlstein, and it was just basically a library. It was gonna go at 6, talk and then sign stuff. And I was like, man, like this is, I mean, he's getting up there in age. I'm like, I can't miss opportunity. Like, I mean, again, this is
yeah,
an idol of mine growing up, and he got me into writing and stuff like that. And I remember that day looking on Instagram, finding it, and I said, fuck it. I looked up the first flight. It was like I think like $57. It was Frontier. I'm like, you know what? Forget. We're going Frontier. And I told my wife, I'm like, hey, by the way, next Wednesday I'm going to California for a day and then I'm coming back. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's this Arlstein thing. I'm like, he's signing. I'm like, he's up there in age, and I don't want to miss an opportunity. And he's not. And I looked at his thing. He's not coming to Texas at all anytime soon. So she's like, whatever. If someone can cover your shift, I mean, I guess. I'm like, cool. You watch the kids, cool. I left that day, um, and I get to it was in Laguna Beach. I get to the beach area. I got there around like 10 o'clock. This thing starts at like 6 o'clock. I go to the beach, I hang out, I eat, and then I'm like, you know what? It should be somewhat. If I get there around like maybe 4:35, should be good. I don't think. I mean, it's a Wednesday. No one should be there. I remember calling the library and the lady's. I'm like, hey, are you still doing the R.L. Stein thing? She's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, where's the line? She's like, oh, well, the line already started. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, the line started already. I go, how many people are there already? She's like, roughly around 40 people. This is at like 12:31. I'm like, and my heart's I'm like, oh fuck, did I mess this up? I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. I took an Uber and I went over there, and there might have been already a little bit over 100 people already before
Oh
I
my
got there. And
gosh.
I was just like, and I'm like, oh man. So we finally get there. He talks, and then they bring everyone out, and then you have to form the line again. And my flight was that night at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, I hope I don't miss this. It's already like 7:30, and I'm like, and the line's long, and people are like, hey, this is taking a little bit longer than expected. Again, he's a little bit older, so all he had was like a bottle of water and a Snicker bar that he would take a bite of the Snicker bar and then drink water, and he'll be good. And they were saying like, "Hey, by any chance, it was two items you can sign. Books. You have to have books." I'm like, "Okay, cool. That's fine." And as I got closer and closer, I finally got to him at 9:20. My flight was at 10 o'clock. I almost missed my flight, and I was telling him, I'm like, hey, Mr. Stein, I'm a big fan. I appreciate it. He's like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, well, I'm from Texas. He's like, oh, he's like, I'm actually going to Texas. And I was like, and in my head, I'm like, well, I'm like, you kidding me? I'm like, you could have told me that a little bit earlier. I would have, and he started laughing. And then he signed The Werewolf of Fever Swamp, and I had a Funko Pop that had of the Haunted Mass. I had it with me, but they said that was only the book, so I was like, okay. And he's like, oh, what's that? I'm like, oh, it's just Funko Pop. He's like, and he signed the Funko Pop, so it was really really nice and stuff like that. So, and that was my experience ever meeting Arlstein, and it was probably one of the most stressful days ever in my life, just because I almost missed my
Yeah.
flight. But I was like, fuck it, if I had to stay in California and another night, so be it. But it was. What about your times? Was the first time you met him was at the con?
Yeah, for me, it was.
Um, for Hayden, I was gonna say for Hayden, I'm not sure. I think
Yeah.
it was though, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So me, I had a similar story. He typically sticks to the East Coast
Yep.
where he lives.
Hmm.
So, and we were trying to get our event slash convention going and have him as a guest, and we were going to do it in Ohio where he was born and he has family, so he would just visit
Hmm.
family wise there, kind of lure him in a little bit. But um, things happened to where we couldn't get the backing for that event and stuff, and uh, I saw where he was going to be in Wisconsin, though. Now, for me, that's a 7 hour drive. Didn't care, did it, got there. Same situation, though, except the library there was not ready. And I'm like thinking, how are you not ready for R.L. Stein? Like, what was happening here? They were
I
turning people away. I
Yep. See
literally got there and I was like, dude, I'm
that's
like,
what happened at the end. They started giving people tickets because they started counting how many people were there, and they're like, I don't even think there's enough people to fit in this damn auditorium. And I think that's another thing is that like you said, the library wasn't ready. I feel like there was very unorganized unless they realized maybe they thought like, hey, it's a Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Maybe a lot of people won't show up, but I'm like, people were coming, flocks of people. I mean, it was nuts. So go ahead.
yeah, no, and that's how it was there too. I mean, there were what seemed like thousands of people. It was crazy. Like that library probably was losing their minds because they probably get that many people in a year, not a
Yeah.
day.
Right.
And So I told the dude who told me, he's like, well, we're not taking any more for his panel or for signings. I'm like, they're separate. I was like, you have to actually be in
Yep.
line for both. It's like, well, that sucks because I was like, I guess I'm missing the panel because
Yep.
I really would like to get his autograph on this stuff. Oh, well, the line's already capped off. I'm like, are you what?
Um,
I about cussed that dude out. I was like, dude, I just drove 7 hours.
yeah.
Uh, I've not eaten, so I'm hangry. Unlike Stein, I did not have a Snickers, so I was not myself, and I was ready to throw down. As I was cosplaying the Haunted Mask that day from the
Oh
'90s show.
God.
So I was getting ready to go all straight up Carly Beth Haunted Mask on people,
About to lose your
and
shit.
run amok. I was about to lose my shit. Well, thankfully, like he went to check to see if there was something he could do. He couldn't, but they said, okay, well, he does have another event at a school just down the road here later today. I was like, okay, well, what time is that? Well, now keep in mind, this is like noon.
Hmm.
He wasn't supposed to start doing anything at this library till like 2 o'clock. So the fact that they were already capped out and they will not let anybody in anything, I thought I got there early enough. I was wrong.
Yeah, me too,
I
man.
thought
Me
two
too.
hours advance. Okay, I'm probably good. No.
Yeah.
So the next one wasn't till like 5. I'm like, dude, I gotta wait another for like 5 hours and then leave and do another 7 hours to go home.
Oh,
I was like, bro, come on, dude. And I was like, whatever, I'll just go straight there. I was like, I'm just gonna sit in my car and wait, whatever. There were already people in line.
yeah.
So whoever he was telling already went over there
They were
five
ready.
hours ahead of time. And I was like, screw it. I'm going up there. That's actually where I met Isaiah too for the first
Oh,
time. Like I
really?
told people on my Instagram, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in Wisconsin meeting Stein if you're there too. Let's talk some Goosebumps.
Hmm.
Because I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like at least where I live, people know about Goosebumps, but they're not like fans like I
Mhm.
am or you guys are. So it's like I don't get to talk to anybody except when we do this kind of stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I was like, if you're a fan, let's go talk some Goosebumps, man. And sure enough, Isaiah was there. And then funny enough, that's who was on the call when we first got all together because of Bjorn.
Oh, nice.
So
Interesting.
yeah. And so I met
Yeah.
him there, then met him actually in San Antonio. We were having dinner Friday night before the con. And Tim said he was doing dinner with Stein, but he'll join us for dinner Saturday. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Um, Well, we thought they were going to go somewhere else because they were supposed to, but they actually ended up staying at the hotel. So
Nice.
here's Tim talking with us, and then all of a sudden here comes Stein in like a Hawaiian shirt,
Love
and
it.
I'm just
He's
like,
never that man's never changed. I love it. That's
no, not
he's
at
the
all.
best.
And we tell the story on the podcast, but it still cracks me up. Bjorn's mom was there, and she is like the nicest person, and she loves to give hugs and all this other stuff. She didn't even hesitate. She went right up to the man. Oh, I was just waiting for security to come and bam, like, take her out. And we were all just in shock. Like we just couldn't believe like you just touched him. Like what are you doing? It was a moment for sure, but he's like, "Oh, that's nice."
He's that
Just
We
sounds
were like,
embraced
"Okay,
it.
I guess we're
sounds
all right."
exactly like you would do. Like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I guess we're
He's
doing
like,
this."
"Yeah, that's nice." Tim's getting a good chuckle out of it because I don't think he's ever seen anybody do that to him before. Uh, and as we're standing there, everybody's introducing themselves, and I decided to move like to this side of him because I was like, I didn't want to like be a creeper back here. I was just like, everybody's kind of doing the circle thing. I'll just go over here.
Mm,
Well, I don't think he saw me go over there, which isn't a big deal. I wasn't sitting there like fangirling and stuff, as much as it is Stein, it's just, I treat every person like a person.
yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're a celebrity or not. And I think that's what works for our podcast so well, is because we don't treat them on this high pedestal fangirling. Now, granted, I already told them, even Catherine, I told her after the interview was done, we stopped recording. I was like, oh, it's like my heart was going 1,000 miles a minute. I was like, that was crazy. I was like, because of it's you. I was like, but that's like the only time I think I've ever truly fangirled. But from that moment, I think, and going forward, once you talk to one and you do more, you realize how more comfortable they are
And they,
with
I think
just
they appreciate
them
it a
like
little
a
bit more.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
They do.
appreciate it a little bit more where it's not like, oh God, here we go again. This guy's gonna be like, just and that's how you do it. You kind of break the ice, just talk to him normal, and that's it. And you just kind of go from there. But I think, yeah, I think not only like fangirling or fanboying like does kind of put a little bit more pressure on not only the celebrity but like the person too because you're like come on, man. Like, I get it. I work at the airport. Like, I see people come in all the time and they get the same thing a million times, right? They get people flipping out. They just want to, especially in the airport, they kind of want to get their stuff. They want to be incognito and kind of want to, bounce. They don't want to. And I remember Kurt Russell coming through like a couple months ago. And I was like, hey, man, love your stuff. He's like, oh, I appreciate it. And then you can tell sometimes they want to engage and sometimes okay, thank you. Trying to leave. So, and then you get that one person like, "Oh, I love the Chinatown movie. That was great." And like, you let's
Say the
get one.
thing. Say the
Yeah, exactly.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. Say it,
Yeah.
man. Like, no, man, he's not a damn puppet. You can't just tell him to do something because you like it. Like, so I
Right.
agree. I agree with you on that one. I think the more normal you are with them, the more appreciation they have for the podcast or just for the interview itself.
And I think that's what set us apart and why we've been successful in getting more people. Um, but the Stein incident when we were there that night at the hotel, eating dinner, and he came down. It's funny because, like I said, he didn't really notice me there, which again, it was fine. You
Mhm.
know, it's not a big deal. You know, but Tim made it a point to is like he's like yeah, and then that loser right next to you, that's Nick. It's like, I was like, cool. I was like, hopefully he just remembers me from Wisconsin at this point, but I doubt it. He goes, "Oh, hey," he didn't even like. It's like, yeah, nope, sorry. It's like, yeah, nope, that's Tim.
Uh,
So,
Tim.
but that's the fun part, like when you get to know some of these people and like Tim and Craig, you can make jabs and they'll do it back to you. It's
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like when we did the panel with Stein and we talked about how you don't want to say the thing,
Mhm.
I just thought about that. Somebody asked Stein
There you go.
to do the, viewer beware, and he was like, no.
Yeah. Absolutely
Just straight up
not.
looked at him. He's like, no. He's like, no, I'm not a trained monkey.
Yeah, I'm
He's
telling
like,
you, man.
no.
Okay, so you
He
can
just straight
imagine
up
how
said
many
no.
people like, just go up to him or see him and that's the thing I think we as people need to realize, like you said, like just because they've been in these movies, just because you love it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna be like tell Carly Beth like, hey Carly Beth, put the mask on. Like I met her in Houston, and she was there, and Crawley was next to her, and I'm like, hey, I'm like, big fan. I'm like, how are you doing? And she's like, no, I'm good, good, good. And I remember having her on the podcast, and we talked a little bit about Goosebumps, but I wanted to find out more about what she does now, like ballet and stuff like that. And she's like, well, I don't know if like the viewers, but I'm like, I don't care about the viewers. I'm like, I want to know. I genuinely want to know. And I remember her saying it after we were off air. She's like, "Oh, I do appreciate you even bringing that up," because she's like a lot of people. And then again, I didn't know jack shit about ballet. I was just like most of the stuff she was saying. I was like, I didn't know anything. I was like, all right. But it's something that she's
Right.
passionate about. It's something that it's a big part of her life. Not only Goosebumps, but what she does now. Same thing with Catherine Short. With all her artwork and what she
Yep.
does and stuff like that. So it was really cool to not only dissect Goosebumps, but what they do. And same thing with Amos. Amos is I didn't know he loved baseball so much. So we talked almost for 20 minutes. We forgot about Goosebumps and we talked about baseball for about 20 minutes. And this was when at the time where the Blue Jays were actually going to the World Series. So he was hyped up and every time I was like, man, because I'm a Yankees fan. So I'm like, hey man, fuck your
Oh,
Blue
yeah.
Jays. Yeah, exactly. Like, fuck your Blue
Yeah.
Jays. He started laughing. So it was good though. But stuff like that, I think people
See if
really
you can.
appreciate.
I'll see if I can help too. He doesn't respond to emails very well, and I'll tell a funny story about that if you want to. But Jack Lenz, who was the composer for the '90s show,
Mhm.
so the
Yeah,
our most iconic theme song,
exactly.
probably one of the most iconic theme song from the '90s, because '90s had a lot of them for shows. But
Yeah.
Goosebumps always sticks out to people. We had him in San Antonio with us. We
Mhm.
were able to get him there with us and stuff, and he played it there for everybody live for the first time. He's never done that before, so it was a really cool experience. But I guess he said that he did the song for the Blue Jays. Like,
Oh, really?
he's the one who I guess wrote that and did that. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I did not know that.
I didn't know
Um,
that either. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
that's neat.
I was like, that's really cool. I mean, he has a very prestigious career, obviously more than Goosebumps.
Hmm.
So when you were talking to Catherine about what she did outside of that, I think they really do appreciate when you actually look into more than just what they're most known for
Yeah.
and actually dive into them as a person and see what other works that maybe aren't as recognized that they are actually really proud of.
Yep. And
And
that's something she's
it's,
obviously,
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, she definitely did more than Goosebumps. That's what she's most known for.
Hmm.
But that's one of the reasons why she left was because she loved ballet.
Yep.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
absolutely. I totally agree with that,
Yeah.
and we've been thankful to have her on again for a Halloween episode a couple years ago where we had her and the other Catherine and Amos on, and we'd already had them on for their individual episodes, so we could
Mhm.
just
Just
let
put
them
them down.
all talk because they haven't talked to each other all together like that. I mean, both Catherines kind of talk to each other here and there, but they haven't all really been together like her,
Mhm.
Amos, and the other Catherine.
And
So
sometimes
we just
you
kind of
get
let them
some,
do their thing.
yeah, and sometimes you get better stuff when they
Mhm.
blend in naturally. I had that where my other podcast where I would interview football players, one on one, but then I'm like, what would be a good idea if you had teammates? The stories will come out. And let me tell you, like
Yep.
I got two teammates that was one was a QB and the other one was a wide receiver, and they were talking, and you can see it like this, just like the magic light up in their eyes, like, oh, do you remember in practice? And they just start, and I just sat there, I was like, oh, fuck it, let them talk, because and that's
Yeah.
the beauty of it, especially
Mhm.
them where you haven't seen them or they haven't seen each other or talked to each other in so long, and now they kind of get back together and talk about, because like they probably can, they have a million stories, and especially now they were kids. Now parenthood, I mean, that itself is another lifetime of stories that you can talk about what shit your kid had done, because kids are crazy, man, and they do some they do some
Oh
shit.
yeah.
So it's the
Oh
best thing.
yeah.
So yeah, and that's
Yeah,
what
the best conversations seem to come out when it's like a
just
I've always envisioned it when it's like a bar,
yeah.
you're like a reunion type thing. You're all catching up at the bar, having drinks and just
Yeah.
talking about, what life has been like for the last 5, 10 years.
It's crazy
Those
because
are just
it's
when
so
the
much
best
shit. Yeah,
conversations
yeah,
happen.
it's the best thing, and they got so much stories. And oh, my kid did this, your kid did this, or like oh yeah, like my kid, because I know Catherine Short was saying like her kid finally started watching Goosebumps, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how did he feel, watching it for the first time? Because I think her kid was my son's age at the time. And she was like, yeah, she was like, it's different, it's different for them, especially like, oh, mom was something, back in the day,
Hmm.
so it's pretty cool. Wow.
That's very cool. I mean, we've been very blessed in that aspect of not just the Haunted Mask reunion. Before he passed away, our actual next Halloween special was supposed to be those three, but we were going to add Colin Fox.
Yeah.
Um, because I was in contact with him. He'd already been on the podcast. He was excited to come back for that,
Hmm.
talk to them again because he hadn't seen them since they did that.
Oh wow, that would have
Sadly, he
been
passed
awesome.
away.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, when we had Becky Lantos and Judah Katz from Stay Out of the Basement on at the same time together, the stories that came out of that were wild. And
Hmm.
it was just so much fun to listen to and talk to. And they were laughing and, it's kind of contagious, got everybody else laughing.
That's what's up.
Um, Scott Wickware, that dude is just a comedian in himself. He played the Masked Mutant. He
Hmm.
played the Haunted Mask and the Haunted Mask 2. He played one of the construction hat worker and Welcome to Dead House. So he had been in a few episodes. We did not know at the time until the interview happened that he was actually married to another Goosebumps actress who was in Welcome to Dead House with him, who played the next door neighbor, Miss Thurston.
Oh
And
really?
yeah, so when he's like yelling up the stairs, calling her to come down,
Mm.
he's doing it as the masked mutant. It sounds just like that. So it's so weird.
Hmm.
And we just were like, dude, what just happened? And then here she comes. We're like, oh my gosh, Miss Thurston. I was like, you guys are married? And then it just
There
opened up a whole new
we go.
conversation, a can of worms. You know what I mean? Like, because now his wife's there and she
Yeah.
was involved with it. And it just opened up a whole new memory lock for them that a lot of them haven't talked about Goosebumps in like
Hmm.
30 years. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
and that's the beauty of it, right? It's just that like sometimes these people like you we unlock these things where like, oh man, I forgot about that, or oh yeah, there was a person on set, or oh yeah, like so it's cool to see that, transpire over the video, like over the interview and stuff. So that's pretty cool. What do you guys got going on next? What's the future look like for the Goosebumps crew now?
A
that
lot of different
is
things, actually.
All right, there
still,
you go.
yeah, that's still open for interpretation because when Isaiah decided he was going to part ways, we thought it might be a good time maybe just to rebrand in a way.
Hmm.
Because we had been doing Goosebumps weekly for our over 2 years at that point.
Yeah.
So there's again, like you mentioned in the beginning, there's only so much Goosebumps
Mm.
that you can cover that still makes it interesting or
Yeah.
that you haven't covered already. So we decided to go to a bi-weekly format to
Okay.
make it one easier on editing.
Yeah.
So there's not so much
Or
of a
you hate
crunch in
it.
case you got to get it out.
Yeah.
So, I was like, was that cool, Hayden, or are you good with that? He's like, yeah, no, he's all fine. So we decided kind of like in the off weeks, maybe we just do like an individual video of a review or talking about like an upcoming book. Just a short video though, not like a full on episode. Um, People seem to be responding to it pretty well. We've gotten pretty positive feedback overall about the new format of the show, keeping it to more like an hour
Okay.
rather than just going for like two plus.
Hmm.
Because everybody's time is valuable and we appreciate them even spending a minute or a second on
Hmm.
our videos. You know what I'm saying? So we don't take it for granted, but we know time's valuable.
Yeah.
Not everybody can sit there for 2.5 hours. Now, when we have an interview, which we will have another one coming up, we'll be filming that March 15th.
Okay, cool.
So, and that is with someone who was actually in the production at the Goosebumps Live on Stage
Nice.
show.
Very nice.
If you're familiar with that, it
Hmm.
was a very short-lived thing, but
That's
there's
quick.
still merch out there, but there's literally nothing about that show.
Mm.
Like behind the scenes, people who acted in it has never talked about it, interview. So, we'll finally have something about that, which will be really fun.
Nice.
Um, and like I said, we started a company, which I don't think I've actually revealed the art, but I can reveal it here. It's not really
Good.
out of pocket at this point. But like I said, Craig did it for us.
Cool. I like it.
I asked him to do the skeleton that Tim did
Skeleton.
for us,
Mhm.
but in his style, of course. And yeah, he nailed it.
That's
So
awesome.
sorry if that was too bright, but
No, no, it was
our
there.
bad.
That's a lot better though, but I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so he nailed it, of course, and that's the thing. Like we are keeping that same momentum going. We've reached out to cons. Um, it might be too late for this year. A lot of cons book way ahead of time,
Yeah.
Mm.
but it just because of Isaiah leaving and some personal stuff between all of us, it was really difficult to get this company rolling. But Mark Nagata, the other Goosebumps artist from the 90s for the
Hmm.
Give Yourself Goosebumps, is on board with us. We just
Cool.
haven't announced him yet.
Nice.
Craig White is on board with us. We have a website being made right now. I mean, it's still in development, but you can go to it.
Cool.
Um, and Tim Jacobus was our first add-on. So the concept is we put out the feelers to conventions saying, "Hey, here's what we did for Curse City. We made a compilation video showing them what we did, um, people's reactions to us hosting panels, bringing guests there, um, meeting guests ourselves, which was weird, because you don't think of yourself as
So the weirdest
anything.
thing.
Because
It's
I'm
the
just a dude.
weirdest. Do you remember
It's
your
weird.
first interaction with someone? I remember, like I said, the football podcast, and I was in Nashville walking, and some guy yelled. Again, the podcast name, I don't go by it. And even though it says it right there on the left, it says Mr. Titan. That's the podcast name. It's not me. I'm not Mr. Titan. I just
Hmm.
cover the Titans. The guy who goes, "Hey, Mr. Titan," and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what is happening? And I turn, and the guy runs across the street and goes, "Hey, my name, I forgot his, I'm a big fan." And I was just like, it was a nice feeling, but it was the weirdest shit ever. I was just like, I didn't know what to say. I was like, thank you. I probably look like a prick, to be honest. I was like, thank you so much. All right, man. I was like, I didn't know what to do. It was like that first interaction, never forget it. Like, it was Like it was yesterday, man. It was so weird. What about you guys? What, you just have people just admiring
Yeah.
you and just right? It's just
I
it's
signed, I mean, I think for you guys too, but I signed my first autograph
oh
at
God.
that convention on a lounge fly bag. I think it was a Night of the Living Dummy lounge fly
Nice.
bag. I think and that was the Horrorland one, but it was one of them, and I signed it with all of you guys, and that was so surreal.
I felt so bad. This kid came up to me. He must have been like 17, and he's like, "Hey, I want you to sign my jersey." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "No. These jerseys are like $130." I'm like, "You sure you want me to sign?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah." And I'm like, now I'm like, "Do I put my actual name? Do I put the fake name?" I'm like, "I don't even know anymore." But I felt so guilty because I'm like, "Bro, in like 2 years, this kid's gonna be like, why did I get this schmuck's autograph, ruined my jersey for?" I was just, I felt so bad, but it was nice though. You know, like you kind of have to remember, like, people, you inspire people, right?
Mhm.
Like when we go on, it's not just that. It's like you inspire generations that want to do this, or maybe, and this is how I put it, like that want to start something up and don't have the courage or something, and then they see you or they talk to you and they're like, "Hey, you know what?" And then I usually tell people like, "Hey, just try it out. Like, it doesn't hurt to try something
Mhm.
new." And that's where I take it out. That's where I take out into context is like, hey, like it's a nice thing of just kind of a little bit of inspiration. So that's how I kind of take it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, so are you familiar with FaZe Clan at all? Do you know that brand
No,
gaming organization?
no.
Okay.
But explain
So
it. Go ahead.
so
It's
FaZe
like,
Clan is like the biggest gaming organization or was. They recently kind of fell off, but the back in like 2015, 2016, they
mhm,
were the shit.
mhm,
And so I had the chance to meet them while I was in New York, and I looked up to them like big time.
mhm.
Like I spent so many of my hours watching their videos and shit, and
Uh-huh.
it was such a surreal moment. So on your note of like signing that kid's jersey, for me the equivalent of that was I got autographs with or not autographs. I got photos with all of
Uh-huh.
them like
Okay.
individually. And I look back on those even today. I'm like, that was so cool that like
Okay.
these people that felt like untouchable, like they're
Mhm.
so high up in this industry that I got to meet and talk to them and laugh with them for
Yeah.
even 5 minutes
Mhm.
and then get a photo with them. So it's like, and those guys inspired me to do what I do now. And so
There you
that's kind
go.
of like, we're all in a unique position. We're all just guys that are making content in our bedrooms and shit. But at the end of the day, it's like to somebody else, you don't know
What they're
what
gonna
that
do. Like,
impact
yep,
is for them, you know. So
absolutely.
it's, we're all struggling with life shit. Everybody here is something going on that's in personal life, and you don't feel like you make an impact, but there's somebody out there that's listening to this that
Yep,
wants to do either do what we're doing or wants to pursue a dream or a goal.
absolutely.
And if you can encourage that in any way, it's just such a cool opportunity that we all have together.
I think Hayden knocked it out of the park with that one. It's true though. It's crazy, and you don't really realize that until, down the line. And sometimes you gotta slow down. That's
Yeah.
another thing I realized. Like I've done a lot of stuff, and I'm just like interviews, guests, and stuff. I'm like, I sometimes I'll rewatch just a clip of someone I've had that I never thought in a million years. Like I said, my favorite football player of all time is Eddie George, and I had the fact that I got a chance to interview Eddie George. I'm like,
Oh, that's
I
cool.
I,
Yeah.
I could have one subscriber but I had Eddie George on. I'm done. Like I don't even have to do YouTube anymore. I was like right there. I was like, it's like
See,
a pinch me moment. I'm like, I'm
Right.
good. I don't care who watches it, whatever. I mean, I'm good. What's up? What's up?
that's crazy.
Yeah.
See, it's funny because like I live in Indiana, so I've always
Hmm.
been a Colts fan.
Okay. Ugh.
The one Titans jersey I own is Eddie George
There you
because
go.
he's just a phenomenal player,
He
and I always loved watching him play.
he's amazing. Again, growing up, that was that Eddie George and Steve McNair were like my icons, and man, you know, dreamt, slept, everything was Eddie George, and to have him on the screen, I was like, holy! And I'm trying to hold back like this, like I'm like I can't fanboy, but like my heart's like just like how you were with. I was just
Mhm.
Yeah,
like Holy shit, like, and I'm trying to be like nonchalant and just be like cool and just like, and then the fact that he acknowledged, and that was where I was like, I almost lost it. He acknowledged, he's like, hey, by the way, I love the platform you have for the Tennessee Titans, man. He's like, it's amazing. I was just like, I was just like, enter me. I was about to cry. I was like, thanks, Eddie. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
What what a crazy day that was. That was nuts, but it's cool like that, because again, at the end of the day, we're human. We just go out and do what we love, right? You love
Hmm.
Goosebumps. I love sports. I love Goosebumps as well. It's just something that you're passionate about. As long as you kind of find that niche, it it's work, but it doesn't feel like work. And that's always wanted to, do
It
with like
doesn't.
YouTube. I had a couple sponsors and stuff that wanted me to do networks and stuff, and I go, hey, they're like, oh, when do you do daily? How many videos? I go, usually, honestly speaking, I do a video when I kind of want to. Like, I know it's not that's not like the statue you want to have for YouTube because YouTube is all about like consistent and you're putting out
Yep.
content. But at that time, I was just like, well, I just, I'll do a video if I want to talk about the team, but if not, like, I don't talk about the team. And they're like, well, that's weird. I'm like, well, here you go. You're gonna, do 2 or 3 videos a week. And I was like, I'm like, don't make it a job. Like, because then I don't like it. Like, I love talking. I love talking about the team. But if you're gonna get me on a set schedule where I'm gonna do 3 times a week and I have to, like, I'm just gonna fall out of love with it and you're gonna see it on camera. So that's why like I said, with this movie stuff, I've I had a film major, love movies, love writing, and just the fact that I get to talk to people from not only the movie scene, but like you did with the behind the scenes. Like there's so much more that goes behind the production other than the actors and directors, and to kind of get a glimpse of that is awesome. And I could talk about that and then meeting people like you guys are awesome. Like just to talk and have conversation. Like, well, here's another person on the list. I get to talk to Goosebumps if I want to talk about Goosebumps because my wife will be like, I don't want to talk about Goosebumps. I'm like, all right, don't worry, I'll talk to Sean or I'll talk to Hayden about Goosebumps because you don't want to talk to me, and you just make like those connections, and I think that's something that's a lot of people, you know, don't understand on YouTube because it's so competitive. And I feel like, it's completely different. And I want you to succeed as much as you probably want me to succeed. And we're all in it together. And just like you growing is awesome. And I love to see that. I love to see people grow and get better and get bigger. And that's what it comes down to, man. At the end of the day, it's just connection and friendship. So,
Yeah, for sure.
100% agree.
you
I
know,
mean, I think if anybody's watched our channel before, you see that's the big driving point for us. I mean, because we have people on multiple times, not just actors or, you know, prop makers, directors, whatever, just other YouTubers, other content creators. You know, King Nesme, we've had on a couple times. Nostalgia Fever Dream is a good friend of ours, and we've had some of the bigger ones too. Like somehow we ended up getting James Rolfe on the
nice.
podcast. And a lot of us grew up with him on YouTube. I mean,
Yeah.
but that dude can sit there. He's just so chill,
Hmm.
and because again, it's just another it's a person. It's an actual person. They just did what they love and people followed it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and but he's talked about coming back on again. He enjoyed being on and like
That's what's up.
we've made friendships throughout all this. I mean, and that's how, we like to do things. We do a Christmas party every year on our
Nice.
channel and bring as many people back. Like this year I had to work overtime, so I missed this one, but I had the idea. I was like, hey, why don't you guys play Family Feud Goosebump style?
Nice.
So then we had, quite a few people like from past episodes who we've made friendships with
Hmm.
come on and compete against each other.
See, that's cool.
And,
See.
it was a really positive episode. Everybody loved it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it
So
was a lot of fun.
I think that's probably the biggest thing takeaway that we've had from this is just the connections we've made
Absolutely.
with everybody.
Yeah.
So we're very grateful for that. I mean, we're not going to be Papa Meat or Mr. Beast or anything crazy, uh, because you're in the Goosebumps genre.
Mhm.
That unfortunate. This isn't the '90s. If this was the '90s, it might be a
Hey,
different story.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, but we're in 2026, so Goosebumps isn't up there so much anymore, but that's not what it's about for us. So
But well, I want to say before I let you guys go, man, that you guys have been awesome. I appreciate you guys, the time and the effort and all the hard work. And like I said, keep doing what you're doing. Obviously, you're making a big impact, and people love you. And I appreciate the conversation, man. I had a fun time talking with both of you guys, man.
Yeah, appreciate you guys or
yeah, it was
appreciate
a
you
lot of
having us
fun.
on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Keep going because Goosebumps hasn't died yet, and hopefully they'll make Goosebumps 3. I don't think so. I think R.L. Stein said that they're not going to do it, but you never know with
He hasn't
the.
heard anything. We did ask him in San Antonio,
Mhm.
or I should say, Avery Jones, I think was the one asked, or maybe it was Morgan. I can't remember. We were all waiting to do our group photo op together. Um, all the Goosebumps members there and the Goosebumps crew, and somebody brought it up to him, and he was like, "Yeah," he's like, "I don't think that's gonna happen." In his typical Stein way, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Shit."
Well,
Like, all right,
you never know because I don't think he had like the reins for the Goosebumps show, the newer ones, right? I don't think he had any creative behind that, right?
no,
No.
So I mean, they might. I don't
And it
know.
showed.
Yeah,
It
right.
showed.
yeah,
So,
the show.
oof. So we'll see. But again, I want to say thank you guys so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you